Hey guys, it's Christina. This is Vox and Guest, and I am joined today by like the cutest couple ever. Look at them. They're listed as some weird guy, but it's not just some weird guy. It's our some weird guy. It's Electric Tardigrade. It's Aaron, and we have the beautiful Jade from Procyon Art with him. Hello, my dears. How are you guys today? You want to say hello? Hello. Oop, can I hear you?
Oh God, can you not?
Yes, no, I can. Okay, it looked like you said something and I didn't hear anything, and I was like, "Oh, that would be bad." Audio is a key component of this interview, generally, just for whatever reason. So, I am really happy to have you both here today, because I have been enjoying you, Aaron, on Facebook for months now. You are hilarious and the best kind of weird, and you're so honest, and everything that you put out is just like, whether it's hot dogs or trauma or whatever, you are you, and you're whatever. And I was like, I gotta talk to this guy. And now I have a bonus. I have a twofer. I have a gift with purchase in Jade, who's just like, the art is just so awesome. So we'll be talking about all of that today. But I have to start everything off because, now as a professional journalist, I have to establish my credibility with every interview that I do. So I'm going to start off with a really intense, personal, philosophical question. Okay. And you can both answer it. All right. Are you ready for this? Okay, here we go. Is cereal soup? Why or why not?
Yeah, because milk's broth.
Ooh, ugh.
You're just trying to be
It's
difficult.
cold soup.
People that enjoy borscht, nice try. Borscht, it's a soup.
It is a soup. I've had that. That's the beet soup, right?
Oh, so that's why her argument is invalid. I love you, but you're wrong.
So your argument is what, Jade? You say no?
I said no because cereal's cold and soup is warm.
Except for borscht
and gazpacho as well. So you have
Twice as wrong.
Ignorant.
It's weird how ignorant you are.
Okay. It's this kind of banter that keeps their love alive, ladies and gentlemen. Okay.
It really does.
Okay, so we have dissension in the ranks. We have a yes because, and I hate this sentence and everything about it, milk is a broth.
It's a broth.
It's just
a broth.
And then we have no because it's not warm.
Stop me. I just
okay.
Hitting the face.
That's okay. Whatever you feel like doing is fine with me. So, okay. All right. Well, we may not have answered that age-old question, but at least we got some really good answers for it. So
it's a soup. That's all we need to know. It's a soup.
Okay. It either very definitely is or is not a soup. It's definitely one of those two things. So, okay. Before I create friction between the two of you that you don't need, we have a lot to talk about because, first of all, you have so much music. And when I do the prep for these interviews, I listen to everything. Like,
oh God, I'm sorry.
Everything that no, it's totally fine. But I listen to everything that's on Spotify. I listen to everything that's out. And I was astounded by, in the last 2+ years, how much music you have generated. And we're not even talking about, 2-3 minute songs. Some of these are 7, 9, 10, 11 minutes long, and you just are prolific. And so before we get to all of that and all of the everything that we're going to talk about, let me back way the hell up and find out how you got into music, how old you were, like what was the thing that made Aaron go, I'm going to do this?
Green Day.
Green Day.
Talked about this. Green Day. I'm an 80s kid, but my mom always introduced me, and people always, I shudder to talk about it because people think that like I'm being deprecating towards my mom, but my mom was an alcoholic, and
that's not deprecation, that's fact.
I inherited that, and I'm very open about it.
Mm-hmm.
But she used to take me to parties, And because of that, I was introduced to very loud music like
Gotcha.
AC/DC, Pantera, like bands that I could never let go of because of that.
Mm.
But whenever I started watching MTV, like back when they still played music,
Music, yeah.
Longview by Green Day came on, and I was like, I want to be able to play this. And so I told my dad that I wanted to play bass. Didn't even know what the hell it was at that point, but I just wanted to play it. I wanted one, and I wanted to figure it out. And he took me to a pawn shop and got it for me. Now, I need to say as an aside, he never thought it would do anything like good for me.
Okay.
The day I found out I got a scholarship for being a jazz bassist at the school I went to, I literally called my dad to rub it in his face.
Okay.
That's the relationship I have with my family and my musicality.
Okay.
It was Longview by Green Day. I said, I want to be able to play this. But, the thing is, too, and I will say this until I'm dead, Longview was a bit above my pay grade when I got my first shitty pawn shop bass.
Oh, yeah, and didn't know how to play yet.
Torture yourself with music you can't play.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter if it sucks. Nobody's in there like pre-internet ripping you. So play stuff that is above your pay grade. It will always turn out good. Promise.
I agree. It challenges you to get better. Yeah. No. Yeah. I agree with that.
I was playing Primus at like 2 years in, and I need to say, because I made a reference, that I would make the joke when people are like, what made you focus so much on music? And I was like, weed. I mean, you can take that however you want, but like, weed.
Just weed. Not even necessarily that weed. It could be any weed. It could be a dandelion. Just got you right into it.
It's just the focus, the one that gets you high.
Right, exactly. Whatever kind of weed gets you going, just sitting there crushing up dandelions and jamming them into your face or whatever,
I like that.
You could try that. Don't try this at home, kids. Or if you have, let us know how it worked out for you.
For your heart. Of course she would say that.
Okay. Nerd. All right. Well, I'm not going to give you any ideas. I don't think you need any ideas on any of that from me. But okay, so you have been in music for a long time then, and you are self-taught, I guess, because if you didn't have a ton of familial support beyond getting you the bass in the first place, I'm imagining you didn't get lessons or anything like that either.
I mean, sort of yes and no. I took show choir in high school, but I made it my job to be the mortal enemy of the teacher, to the point to where there would be a major show that the show choir had to be at their best for, and I would purposefully bow out as the bass player because I knew it would enrage her. Sorry, Mrs. Pitchford, if you watch, but I really tried to sabotage you. What?
Bass is a weapon of passive aggressiveness. I'm
you don't ever notice it until it disappears.
Oh, 1,000%. I've said that so many times. We had a gig where our bass player didn't show up, and somebody was like, "Oh, will anybody notice?" And I'm like, "Yeah, they're gonna
notice."
That's exactly. Nobody's gonna want to dance, first of all, because there's no bass. So thanks very much.
And I need to say this because I hope maybe he will watch this. The reason I got the idea to do that is because the previous bass player essentially made a career out of doing that to this person. And I was like, oh, well, as the new bass player, I must do the same. So I made her life a living nightmare because I felt that I had a reputation to uphold.
But I mean, like, you stayed with it anyway, even though you hated her? Is that because you loved the bass so much, or did you have to do show choir as part of school?
Actually, it was because by the time I was a senior, I had already established myself as a music guy. So half of my senior schedule was music.
Gotcha.
But okay. Will be the first to say that the band director, actually, I was a snare drummer in marching band. The band director is the reason why I graduated high school and went to college. And I ended up going to a Catholic church that he played bass for. Whole other story.
Okay.
But I was like, oh my gosh, because like at my school, to sign out of classes, you had to have the teacher's permission.
Drop out.
Yeah, to drop out. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
But when I got to Mr. Leatherman's, it was like, he was the last class. So he was the last one. I had all the teachers' permission. But I stood there for like 20 minutes being like, I don't think I can do this. I don't think I can face him. And that's why I take very personally when people don't think the arts are important. Because Mr. Leatherman impacted me so much that if it wasn't as big of a deal, he would have signed off.
Right. That's
but
right.
I was like, I can't do this. I can't make him ashamed. He was like a second dad, basically. In 5th grade, he was the teacher. I'm going to try not to cry saying this. But like, I was sitting at a table and we had to like do our little rhythm tip taps to show the teacher that we had some rhythm.
Right.
Actually, he pushed me aside and said, go sit over here. And I cried, bawled my eyes out because I thought I failed. And he said, no, you already passed. You're in. But 12 years later, I met up with him again and was like, oh my God, like, it's Mr. Leatherman. The reason I graduated high school, because I got to tell him, dude was the highest paid teacher in Jackson County. But he never heard before that this fucking loser drum guy finished high school because I was too ashamed to look him in the eyes and say I quit.
You didn't want to let him down, it sounds like. You know, that's...
I know that we probably have a few things we disagree with now, but I think he would probably be pretty happy knowing what I did with music, even if it's just a thing, side thing.
A thing. I think it's a little bit more than a thing, Aaron.
I've called it a hobby, and people have shit on me. Like,
okay, I fully support the pigeoning of you at that statement because it's bullshit. But if this is your hobby,
Death Pigeon, are
Death
you
Pigeon? Okay, so I am still trying to figure out because no, it's okay. This is a very general question, but with all of the music that I listen to for the interviews and then just, you know, with the indie music community in general, everybody's very, for the most part, not everybody, but most people are very specific about genre. Okay. And so you've got dance, techno, synthwave, ambient, electronic, acid, you know, dance music, shred wave. You've got all these different breakdown.
Oh, shred wave. That my buddy Noel introduced me to that. He's the guitar player in my stuff, so I had to shout him out.
Oh yeah, well we're going to talk about the saddest humans and everything as we go, but so talk to me about genre, because I know that you're in the process of not changing genres but expanding genres, maybe, from stuff that I've seen you say on Facebook, and that, you know, what you're doing with the songs this year are different. And I mean, again, having listened to everything from 21 and 22, your music does sound different to me. You know, and I know you've got a lot of collabs with different people. We're going to talk about all that stuff, but let me just frame for right now, because I have the feeling between the two of us, at least, and Jade may be there to keep us both honest, but it will be keeping this conversation by the tail and making sure we actually start and end a question and get all the information. I'm going to try my best to get my squirrel brain to focus, but talk to me about what you are calling what you're doing now, what you would call what you've done before. Is it all the same thing? Is it different? Do you not give a fuck? Like, you know, how do you define yourself genre wise? If you do? Experimental.
And the reason I say that, and I feel like I've been pretty open about why I'm open about it. If I had $1 for every metal instrumentalist, whatever, doesn't matter, bass, guitar, drums, whatever, messages me with little EDM clips that they've made, I get so fucking happy. I do. I get happy because it's not really the most popular thing that I've ever done. I was like the town's bass player, but don't consider that a brag because there's like 5 people in the town.
Okay.
But like, I also have the problem, and please don't edit this out, that the Delta 8 is making me forget what we talked about. And I just,
don't worry. Don't worry. We do very little editing, but do you need me to repeat the question?
was it about
Your genre.
why do I make a
The
bunch of
evolution
random
your
dumb shit?
genre over time.
Okay,
That is definitely not what I asked you. Jade's going to help me out here. Yes, it's genre.
verbalized it, and I understand it now, and thank you. I love you.
Jade, if we need to do like an interpretation thing, you just let me know. If you speak Delta 8 and I don't, so if we need to go that way, I can totally do that.
But
we can do that.
really, what it boils down to. Oh my God, I forgot again.
Your evolution of genre.
Yes,
time.
genre has never been huge. It does because there is a YouTube producer that was like, "Hey, you can do whatever you want, but you should at least keep it somewhat consistent."
Is this Andrew Huang?
It absolutely is. Oh my God, I'm so happy.
Okay. The only reason I know that is because of Bone Locker. We just talked about him yesterday, so I don't want to act like I have knowledge I don't have, but it sounded like the guy that you were talking about. Yeah. So yeah, the idea that you can fuck around in all these different genres, but focus on a thing. Yeah. And do that thing really well at a time.
But also, I need to say this, and there's going to be a couple people hear me say this for the first time, as open as I am. I know people that are part of the synthwave genre who say terrible things about it. Like, terrible to the people that are fans. And I'm like, yeah, you probably shouldn't do that. You're kind of established in this, and this is not.
So they're dinging their own genre?
Yeah.
Why? Why?
Don't know, because see, I see the tropes, and a lot of times when I see stuff that I can make fun of synthwave, I'm going to make fun of it. But at the end of the day, me and Noel, within 2 days, or is it Noel and I?
You pick fun because you love it, you know?
I pick fun at it because I love it. I will quote.
Yeah, there you go. That's understandable.
When people shit on it, and I know they're serious, I'm like, I have a problem with that, because at the end of the day, I started out making synthwave because it was familiar and more musically inclined. And I will always, and Jade has seen it, I'm like, today I need to make a synthwave song and post it because I adore it. But the one thing that I've never gotten is if people didn't get whatever they needed from that genre, that they put it on blast.
Right. If it's not for you, it doesn't mean you have to, our older kid uses the phrase, don't yuck my yum, and it's like, I think it's great. It applies to so many things, but yeah, just like if it's not doing it for you, it's just, it's like it's a person who's not your type. It doesn't mean they're unattractive. You just don't get turned on by them. So I'm with you on that, especially if you're in the fucking genre. What are you doing? Like, what is it? It's like I'm too cool for my own genre, so like I'm just gonna act all above it and disaffected or whatever. Like,
I mean, but I guess when I look at it, I'm like, I'm not cool enough for any genre, so I'm just gonna come across as a parody.
So you're like the Weird Al of synthwave or something now. That's how you think of yourself.
Existence.
Weird Al of existence. Okay. You might have to fight actual Weird Al for that one, but yeah, okay. All right. So
church denomination, so I could probably pull it off. Well, I mean, I'm not anymore, and I'm sure that's a topic for another time.
So, and you've released a bunch of singles. Now, are they all on the album?
Actually, it's really funny, and I'm going to say this because I hope the person that watches this hears it. The one thing that got me into all of this was actually my godmother, Mary. Hi, Mary.
Hi, Mary.
I had been snubbed by a whole bunch of musicians because of my intensity, including, by the way, if you see Saxiculus or the second half of Saddest Humans, he knows we crack about it. He was part of that. He snubbed me, like disappeared. And Mary, but the funny thing is when they snubbed me, Mary decided getting me a $500 synth was the answer. And Noel actually taught me how to use a DAW.
Okay.
and I sort of went balls to the wall with it. What?
Talk about how New Start was born.
Oh, New Start was actually the first song that I had fully made that was comfortable enough to publish. But also, I say the reason why it's a weird conversation for me is because it also turns out that the whole project was by a DJ trying to take credit for what I was doing. And because I have social anxiety really bad, he tried to pull off being the guy that wrote the stuff.
Oh,
But yeah,
no.
other fucking topic.
Wow. You're like a nesting doll of topics. Okay. Trying to make mental notes, like come back to that, come back to that. Okay, so wait. So I'm hearing a theme that a lot of your musical persistence is largely like a big fuck you to people who either
I'm gonna let Jade say it because it will be more hard hitting to let you know basically how I operate. Say it.
It's spite.
It's spite.
Yeah, there you go.
It's
I think that was the word I was looking for and didn't pop to mind. But yeah, that's what it sounds like. It sounds like just, you don't think I can do this. You don't think this is going to go anywhere. You don't think I'm going to make anything of this. And I'm going to do it just to spite you.
Yep.
That you basically just summarized everything that I fucking do when I wake up.
And I'll see people. He wants to quit every once in a while, and I think it's really, at the end of the day, it's spite. Like, he loves the music. He'll never stop making music, but he'll never stop pushing the music in his project because it's spite.
Jade has actually had to, like, coddle me while I was crying, wanting to delete everything I've ever made. But you know what makes her a champ? That she'll be like, what about the people that you fucking hate? And then I'm like, and ready to rage again. Like, yeah, I got to prove all these people wrong.
So she just goes in and sort of stokes the embers of your villain origin story, and then that keeps you going with the music.
She is the best girlfriend a nihilist can ever ask for.
There you go. That would be a great song title or album title, actually. So, all right, look, I think maybe what we do here is we go back up a layer. Okay. You mentioned social anxiety. You mentioned, Delta 8. You've mentioned spite, and making music just to spite people. I know you've been very vocal and open, which I love so much about mental health. And, we end up discussing it a lot on Vox and Guest because literally every single person that I've interviewed and myself, like, we've all grappled with it in one format or another, or still are, or whatever. But you've been really vocal about it because you've been through some serious fucking shit, like, and so I kind of wanted to let everybody know a little bit, because I think if people listen to your music and they don't have the context of you and your life and where you're coming from, there's a dimension to the music that they might be able to miss. And I don't want them to do that, because I went into listening to your stuff really intensively versus like the things I had heard, like Joyride and everything, just here and there as you released them. And knowing about you and your life, it gave the songs a different resonance for me, and I was looking for you in it, in the music. And so my long rambling thing is, how much about your background do you want to get into? I mean, I know you've had some real tragedy and losses and
completely.
Okay. So, I mean,
go as deep as I have to, because I just need people to know.
Exactly.
That I was like, I want my music to not be preachy.
Mm-hmm.
And it used to actually piss me off when people were like, you should score a video game. I was like, why? Do I have cartoony music, you son of a bitch? And it used to bother me, but I actually met up with somebody who actually, if you look at the fizzy glizzy artwork, the other guy is the backbone of the glizzy joke. Like,
okay.
To me, he's developing a video game, and I'm going to be the scorer of his video.
Oh, that's awesome.
I was drowning in my own vomit, he was the one person that believed in me.
Mm.
Oh, you son of a bitch. Jade, will you please make sure Herschel quits being a dick? And I'm going to sit here and smack him. Ah, fuck. I'm sorry. You can edit that out. Why is it playing a bossa nova beat? Can you still hear me?
I can hear you. I have no idea what you're talking about right now, but I can hear you.
My favorite person on the planet, which happens to be a cat.
I knew it was a cat. Anytime somebody calls their animal a dick, it's always a cat. Like nobody calls their dog a dick. It's always a cat. So when you're talking about Busy Glizzy, are you talking about Tim? Is that the person?
Actually, no, but Tim is super important too.
Okay.
Because
I don't know who did the artwork for that.
Is when we were in high school together, we were playing the Sweater Song by Weezer.
Yeah.
And when we got to the ooh, ooh part, she actually came out and yelled at us because it was so repetitive. Tim is actually, whenever I was just a weird synthwave guy being taken advantage of, he came at me and said, I have a song. Will you remix it? And I was like, I mean, I can give it a fucking whirl.
Yeah. And
I did. And actually, a week before I introduced myself as my own project, his song came out.
Okay.
And I also have to brag for Jade because he had a show a couple weeks ago and she designed his video backdrop.
Ooh, lucky man. Okay.
And it was amazing. And I thought I was going to have more to do with it, but I was like, you're way better at this than me. I'm just going to go back to self-loathing and making for the floor beats.
It does take up a lot of time, those two things. Yeah. So, and again, just to make sure everybody who's watching knows, Jade, Procyon Art, like really cool graphics, really cool. Is all your art is digital, Jade?
Yeah, well, some of it's traditional that I turned into digital and like retouched and
except for her slam poetry.
What slam poetry?
No, don't be vague.
I really don't know.
She doesn't have slam poetry. I'm sorry. I'm just an idiot.
Okay. But so the art is it's largely digital or you've made it digital.
Yeah, or I've taken something I've made traditionally and like overlaid and added effects and drawn on top of it in some cases, or changed the grain saturation to make it a more cohesive digital image to be used as art.
But I need to say one thing.
I'm sure it's going to be more than one thing, but go ahead.
But when we met on Tinder, I didn't know that she was a digital artist. And that's like, maybe there is a God. Only because like I didn't know, and it turned out there's a period of time that you can go look at my stuff and you're like, oh wow, Aaron made this art and it's terrible. But then you appear always don't even go there. Don't even talk about how I just used me and Matthew.
We're back to whether cereal is soup or not. You two are just not going to agree on this one. But all right, you thought the art was terrible, and then at a certain point it just elevates magically, and the magic is actually Jade.
She doesn't realize that when somebody clicks on one of my songs on Spotify, their impression is her art first.
You have a lot of music, so you got to talk about Denny and your other art.
I mean, I love the people that have done other art for me, but this is more you trying not to be self-deprecating.
Okay.
Cheers.
So, all right, what I'm getting here is that I need to manage your self-deprecation, Aaron, but Jade will help me with that. And then I have to help you manage Jade's self-deprecation. And so I've got both hands are full right now.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm gonna just go ahead here and put in an overall disclaimer that you're both wrong. So shut the fuck up about it, at least for the interview, so that we can talk about all the other really good stuff. No, seriously. I mean, and it's such a great marriage of your art. Like it works so well together because exactly what you just said, Aaron. Like you go and you listen to a song and it's got this really cool visual and it puts you in a place to start from at least. And then because obviously what you're making for him, Jade, is not like, oh, I'm just throwing together whatever. It enhances the whole thing, and I don't know. So I'm going to disagree with both of you when you're self-deprecating, and that's it. But so to get back to just talking about, mental health and history and everything. I mean, have you always struggled? I mean, I know that 2012 was a real banner year for you in terms of dealing with a whole lot of crap. Yeah, but I mean, again, I don't want to seem to be leading you down a conversation, so I don't want to mention details or anything that you...
The board. Don't worry.
Okay. So, I mean, you lost both your parents pretty close together, like 3 years apart and pretty young. And that seems to have started a trajectory for you that took you completely out of your existing life at the time, which, if I've got the timeline correct, you were a preacher?
Yeah.
Yes. And okay. So let me just repeat that, because I know everyone at home is like, what the actual fuck? Yes, Aaron was at one point
I used to be
a preacher.
I would school you at Bible knowledge, and people are like, yeah, right. And I'm like, fucking bring it. But no, I know that my friend, and I'm going to call him out by his total name because he's a dear friend. And I know because it was sort of like a crux. Sorry, I probably look like I just picked my nose, but
you didn't. It looked like a jaunty wiggle. Don't worry about it. Okay, no. So this friend that what happened?
Doyle looked at me and said, when your mom died, I watched it change your personality. And I looked at it, and it was right. And actually, I had a therapist while I was basically straitjacketed at a mental hospital after my dad died. And that's a whole story. And I'm willing to get into it as long as
you tell as much or as little of it as you want. That's totally up to you. But this is your interview, so.
My dad, when he was dying, it was like my therapist said, when your mom died, you flushed your faith down the toilet. And then when your dad died, you gave up on it completely. And that's true. And I can't even begin to tell you how many people have come at me sideways when they find out one of the reasons I have problems with religion is not only how I was treated, but how people treated me when, like, my mom and my dad were my world. And we had a really weird relationship. But
okay, yeah, you mentioned especially with your dad.
If you hear me right now, tell me how you feel about my dad. We called him Mr. Happy Pants because he was kind of bitchy all the time.
Okay.
But everybody loved him.
Huh.
And just, I don't know. It's a weird story for me, but I love talking about my parents. I actually, my therapists have told me that the reason that I'm so messed up is because I refused to let other people do my parents' homilies at their funeral because I was afraid they would say something mean. And I took the bullet basically for them.
That's a lot.
I preached both of their funerals because I didn't want anybody misrepresenting them. And according to my therapists, it was a bad idea.
Okay. Well, that's a lot to take on. I mean, I said a little something at my grandmother's funeral, and I was incredibly close to her, and I know how hard that was. And I wasn't as young, and they weren't my parents. So, I mean, it's kind of a big thing for somebody to say, like, well, you've done this thing that you can't change now, and it's completely fucked you over, and that person is your therapist. But I'm going to trust that your therapist knows what they're doing with that. But I mean, so you were a preacher, clearly religious at that point, unless you were a really weird kind of preacher. And then you lost your mom, and then a couple years later you lost your dad, and then you walked away. And you, as you said, you ended up, I guess institutionalized for a bit, and then you got diagnosed, which fucked up way to have it happen. But I'm really glad that happened, because generally, like, every single person I know, whether it's in or out of my family, who's had bipolar disorder or addiction or, any kind of mental health diagnosis, things got better for them on some level once they got the diagnosis, because it's kind of like, okay, this is what my brain is fucking doing. So was that your experience too, that it
Yeah. Actually,
okay.
the day that I was getting ready to be discharged, the doctor brought me into the room and he said, "You have severe bipolar disorder with psychoses.
Mm.
Fuck you."
Mm.
And like, I'm not sure he knew, but I guarantee he's probably even had fists thrown at him. You know, people don't want to hear that shit.
Oh no, I'm sure. Yeah.
But like, after he calmed me down after cussing him out, I heard him out. I heard him out. And he basically described my life as a teenager without knowing anything about my teens. And I was like, oh my God, fucking nailed it. And even though I'm still a mess, it was that diagnosis that I started picking up who I was, how I was doing, and all that, and looking at it as, okay, you're a crazy guy. Sorry if that gets you zucked. But I could go even deeper because my language gets weirder.
We're on YouTube, so you don't have to worry about him.
Maybe. but no, like, I'm serious. Like, in the sense of, I would cry crocodile tears to explain what I've been through to like save like one person from this nightmare.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I mean, yeah. Sorry, go ahead. Well,
no,
yeah.
after my dad died, my therapist, to tie it back, was like, "You gave up after they died," and I was like, "Oh God, you're right. I did give up, to the point that now my voice sounds different because of my cigarette addiction, and I ruined my voice." The hacking.
Well, and I mean that, you mentioned alcoholism too, and obviously genetically, if you start out behind the 8 ball on that, like so many of us do, but a lot of people I know who are especially bipolar and undiagnosed turn to addiction to self-medicate, which, I mean, while it's not ideal, obviously makes a whole lot of sense to me because something has got to help. And it doesn't help, but in the moment it seems like it does. So, you really kind of went in at bottom. And were you making any music during this period? Were you?
Yeah. Oh, I was in, and I think my Facebook might have a picture of it, but actually a guy that I'm still very close to, that, sorry, I drank that wrong and now I'm like, eh. But no, like a guy that actually has been integral to my growth and messing with synths, was part of a prog rock project with me whenever I had lost both my parents. And he got to actually deal with my rage like live. Poor guy. Love you, Jimmy, but sorry at the same time. It just it wrecked me. But also, that's the reason I like to talk about this stuff, because there's a lot of people that don't talk about this stuff.
Absolutely.
And if the world collapses, people don't know. People don't know.
That's right. That's right. And it's more damaging because whatever trauma or grief or loss you go through, it feels like you're the only person in the world that it happened to. And then it also feels like you're the only person in the world who's processing it the way you are. And that's never, ever true. It's never true. And I mean, I think that, I get it's your MO, I hope that wasn't, I want to leave this interview now.
Oh, no.
No, I'm just kidding. It might be a P alert. We don't know. But it's
he's helping.
You are saying a lot of stuff about being messed up, about being fucked up, about being, a disaster, a mess, whatever. And I mean, Aaron, like, you went through one of the most traumatic things that can happen to a person twice in 3 years at a young age, and you also were battling for, years before that with your brain pretty much setting you on fire all the time and not knowing why. And so I think a modicum of grace for yourself here might be in order. Of course it wrecked you. Of course it fucking destroyed you and it tore your whole world apart. Like, how could it not? And the fact that you're making music and that you were making music even in the middle of that, sometimes our closest friends are the ones that just sit there and absorb all of the ugliest parts of ourselves when we can't pretend to be fine. And that's how you find out who your friends and your family are, right? Those are the people who don't walk away. So, yeah.
Can I say one thing?
You can say whatever the hell you want, dude.
No, this is what I want, because after you said that, I'm like, okay, now I feel safe. But I need people to know what I was up against. Because there's a lot of people from my hometown that have criticized me because I lost it.
Jeez.
My mom's death. I was a mama's boy, right? I was a mama's boy, hands down. I can show you card tricks that make your mind explode, because that's how they entertained me while my mom was getting hammered. Like, I'm real about it. And I don't take anything away from her.
No.
And I Mary watches this. She knows that's true too.
And
I love her to pieces, and I would not want to do anything to upset her. But like, I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, what's really crazy, and the one thing I've wanted to get out of all of this, thank you, my dear. My dear helped me. Is that Mary, my godmother, by the way, she held me at my mother's funeral after the hardest speech I've ever given in my life. And I was like, Mom, I'll make you proud. And Mary promised me that she would take over. But the thing is the funeral parlor gave me 2 hours to make peace with the fact that I was 8 hours away at a job that I went to college for, and I was so whatever. But then they had to rip me off of the casket because I almost tipped it over while I was the preacher and also cussing God out.
No, I mean, first of all, what you're telling me makes me angry for you.
People aren't. And I don't want to lose more people. No,
but if people are angry at you for surviving however you've had to survive, I don't think you need those people. But I don't want to make that decision for you. But I mean, anyone who can't look at what you've been through and understand what happened to you next.
Oh God.
They're either at a level of self-denial or lack of empathy that is atrocious. You're leaving. He's going. He's gone. Goodbye. Where'd he go, Jade?
I'm right. Oh no.
You're here.
My battery's dying, so I'm trying to get.
Oh, we're charging. We're getting a real full a full throttle here. And we do want to keep your battery going. That would be good. But again, I mean, it pisses me off because who is anybody else to look at you and your life and what you've been through and criticize how you process that? I mean, it's ridiculous. And it's, I'm glad that you're honestly, like, that part of it makes me glad that you're so powered by spite, like, because I understand that now better than even before when you were first talking about it, because that's really fucked up, to take somebody and judge them for having their world come apart when their whole world has come apart. It's ridiculous. So, I mean,
what sucks though?
I mean, a lot about that sucks, but tell me what you're thinking specifically sucks.
The story actually gets darker.
Oh no.
And just keep in mind, I'm smiling. And like I said, one of my biggest goals was, like, if I ever get a platform, I'm going to talk about the dark shit.
That's fine. I'm with you.
My dad, I was staying with him you know, just to make sure he was okay. But he had COPD because of cigarettes.
Mm-hmm.
And one night he woke up clenching his chest and begged me to take him to the ER, and I did. And when people want to question my fear of death and things like that, like my dad, who was a 2-time Vietnam vet, his last words was, "Help me, I'm scared." And I was just some dumbass Bible major kid. I didn't know how to help him except for drive faster, but that was a problem as well. But my dad, who was one of the toughest people I've ever met, his last words to me on the planet was, "I'm scared," and people wonder why I have CO. Or, I mean, nobody that watches me they know I have COPD, and I know you fucking caught that. but
yeah, why you have fear of death and anxiety, and yeah,
it's the PTSD thing. It messed me up bad. But it's also why I'm very open about it, because if I have to go through BS, like if I know how to make someone not go through the BS, oh my God.
You want to share your story so you can help other people.
Yeah. And that's what I decided with my music, that there's a lot of people that think that I make dumb shit, and I don't care, as long as they know that, like, I'm here for them at the end. Oh God, did I just like do that like in boomer angle? So you got
you were boomer adjacent, but you were not quite boomer. We couldn't count your brain cells or your nose hairs or anything like that, so you're okay. So okay, so you hit that point. Everything is crashing down around you. You've gotten your diagnoses. You're still making some music. You're getting through every day, I assume. Okay. And at what point, and I hesitate to ask this as if there is definitely a point, but at what point, if there was one or has been one, did you start to feel like, as you said, you were, once you especially had the diagnosis, that you were sort of figuring out who you actually were, aside from what your brain was doing, how it was messing with you? What do you feel like at some point you've got your feet a little bit at least more under you? And no.
I still don't. As a matter of fact, one of the hardest truths that I've ever had to come to grips with, the first time I saw a, hey, I'm not doing so bad thing, the day, and this is why I never celebrate milestones. I like post it to keep the algorithms going, but it's like my brain's probably not there. Every day that I've celebrated a milestone that anybody would be thrilled for, I was trying to convince myself not to hang myself. I did not want to be alive. And that's why I'm so adamant. If I see any of my musical homies like, stuff sucks, I'm like, I'm right here.
That's right.
I'm right here. Like, we can get through this. I've been there. I've talked myself out of a lot of self-harm while doing this. I was about to be...
I mean, I also imagine that I know when something horrific has happened in my life, I feel like I'm not allowed to be happy or enjoy things or celebrate things, because I feel like if I feel okay, I'm not grieving them enough, or I'm not respecting their loss enough, or I'm somehow, disrespecting
them. I say one thing?
Yeah, of course you can.
Please don't think that me starting to cry is bad, because I just told Jade that a week ago. that I torture myself. Because if I'm happy, I'm afraid my parents will think I forgot about them.
Oh, honey.
But no, you're right. You're right. Yeah. I know my parents will be like, fuck yeah, you're doing great. Kick ass, you son of a bitch.
That's right.
My
But
brain
it's just guilt. It's
interpret.
guilt. It's guilt. No,
It's,
I
it's
totally.
thank you. Thank you. It's guilt. It's guilt.
No, I mean, Aaron, I think so much of what I'm hearing from you in how you deal with really fucking awful shit is so normal. And I wonder if because for so long when you didn't know that you were bipolar, you seemed like an alien, and you think maybe that there are
Like,
things that you're doing that are really normal that you don't think are normal. But yeah, I mean, I mean, PTSD and grief and tragedy and loss, and I mean, you got just hammered by life. I don't I don't think as long as you're not hurting anyone else, I don't think there's a wrong way to deal with that and get through it, and I know that feeling of having lost someone and being afraid to smile or being afraid to laugh because it feels
like
wrong. It
you're getting,
feels yeah, yeah.
like
And
you're
and
getting them, and
that's
that's
it.
not true at all.
No, and you can't, because if you don't let yourself enjoy your life and your successes and your relationships and your music and everything else, you're not living either. You're just existing.
Exactly.
And
And
I don't think good parents would ever want that.
what
Ever.
makes me the most angry is that, like, okay, so my godmother is, pushing my dream forward. I send her everything I make, and she's
Hmm.
my biggest cheerleader.
We love Mary. We love Mary at Vox and Guest. We love you, Godmother Mary.
Oh, Mary is my world.
Hmm.
She is my world. Like, she was the person that hugged me tight at my mom's funeral and said, I made a promise to your mother that if anything happened, I would take over. And I need
Hmm.
everybody to know that she has went above and fucking beyond.
Hmm.
And also, she won't be mad me dropping an F-bomb with it, because
No, that's
her
just that's
language is
just
about
that's
just
just
as bad.
linguistic flavor. That's it.
Sorry.
It's spice. Yeah. No, Mary, I think Mary's seen you through enough stuff that I think you're allowed to drop
Home
as many F bombs
has
as you want.
seen me message her at 3 a.m. being like, Mary, I don't know how I can pull out of this.
Yeah.
She's been there through a lot, but she never stopped. But I also, one of my favorite things, and I have to tell this story.
Tell it.
My mom and some weird rando, don't know, her name was Susie, but they had a falling out,
Okay.
and my mom wasn't sure because we were like 8 hours from home. How are we going to survive? You know how we survived? Mary, the woman that grabbed a bunch of crayons and said, draw on the walls if it makes you feel better.
Hmm.
And it's just funny because I've had family members go, and I know my brother will enjoy this if he listens to it, but we have an aunt that when she died, we both laughed.
Okay.
And I know that sounds dark, but maybe he'll explain. But
I'll have to interview him next.
with Mary, it was never that way because she's always been deeply important
Mm,
to me. But
mhm,
also because she knows that, like, I made a promise months ago that I was willing to embarrass myself as long as it raised awareness, especially towards dudes that hurt themselves because they feel like they have no one to talk to. I'm sorry, I'm a bro, and I'm the bro that I hope other bros know that they can message at 1 a.m. And as long as I'm manic, I'm probably up.
there's the plus side. But you're not embarrassing yourself, Aaron. Let's get that really clear, because I think it's people have this, and especially I think men are taught that being strong means you don't deal with your shit, you don't talk about your feelings, you don't even feel your feelings most of the time. And I think that's weakness, actually. I think the strongest fucking thing that a person can do is look their demons in the face and deal with them and then talk about them and put them out in the world and give that gift to other people, because you don't know who's going to watch this or look at your Facebook page or listen to your music and go, okay, if Aaron can talk about this, if Aaron can survive this, if Aaron is still here and he's even here for me, and I have the feeling you're saying, even if you don't know somebody, if they're struggling and they reach out to you, you're there. You're their brand new friend. And that there's nothing embarrassing about that. There's nothing weak about there. That's about this. I mean, Jesus, you're like one of the strongest people I've ever met. And I don't care if you're not okay. I don't care. The fact that you're not okay and you're here makes you strong. You couldn't survive what you've survived and make this really great fucking music and put it out in the world and have Jade. And clearly the love between the two of you is just so special and so real and genuine and unconditional.
That's
You know, I mean, that's strength. That's strength. Feeling okay is not strength. Being honest and genuine and real and talking about it and trying to put it out there and do exactly what you're saying you're doing, that if you have a platform, whatever it is, you're going to use that to try to help other people. That's strength. So, I mean,
I cannot make time, but okay. So actually, it's weird. I'm glad that this interview happened at the time it did, because about this time last year, I was standing on a rooftop of the apartment I was living at, and the first parts of the words were, "On a rooftop getting high, I got diesel in my veins thinking about suicide. There's no Jesus in LA." And it came up randomly. And I was sitting there on top of a roof, slamming vodka, praying that I found the toxicity level that would kill me. And the best part is, though, is I actually talked with the guy that made it. He goes by Red Leather. But I talked with him about it and said, "Hey, dude, you released that song at just the right time. Because now I've decided to go home and get better." And it's a fun story because the dude was talking about his dark experience, and he doesn't realize that his dark experience kept me alive.
That's it. That's it. Because we just need not to feel alone, right?
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. And that's why, I mean, like yesterday, I kind of got a little more snippy than I wanted to on my page, but someone came at me because I know this person has talked to me and they knew my sense of humor. And I said, I wrote most of my songs lit. Everybody knows it. Anybody that's been with me knows it.
Yeah.
But they came at me and I was like, nah, this person knows that it's self-deprecating. You know, why do I need to be this level of XYZ to function? I don't know. But it bothered me. But basically that was tied into the fact that like a lot of people come at me for being open. Weird. I thought,
but those are people who are closed and scared. Because I think what happens is when we're open about things that are ugly and scary and hurtful and harmful, like things like suicide and self-harm and mental illness. I hate even calling it that, but you know, mental health issues and whatever it is. What happens is, and I've been around, Aaron, it's not just you, so many people in my life who hate me for talking about that stuff and dealing with that stuff. You do have to, but a lot of people don't. And I think what happens is it shines a light on something that they want to keep very dark. You know, they don't want anybody to know about it. And to look at you and see what you're doing and how you fight from what I'm gathering, you fight every day to stay on this planet. That's what I'm getting from you.
Sometimes.
To one degree or another, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, if somebody's going to criticize how you fight that fight for yourself, fuck them. Seriously, fuck them. And I get it. I am disproportionately affected by what other people think, even when I know in my head that they're wrong. Knowing it cognitively and buying into it emotionally are two very different things, right? So you can tell yourself, oh, they don't know, whatever. But my therapist told me once that if something is bothering you, it's because it's resonating with a part of you that's either being more honest or is afraid that they're right. And I have taken that in a lot, because it's like, why is this bothering me so much? Like and there's a quote like, don't ever take criticism from someone you wouldn't go to for advice, which sounds great. It's really pithy. It would be great on like a mug or a t-shirt, but it's really hard to do. But I get that. I get being bothered by that kind of stuff, but you are living something that most people don't survive. You're living a series of things. You've got a couple. Any one of them taken by themselves would be enough. Addiction, bipolar, losing both parents, all this other stuff. But I mean, that's why I love Mary now so much. I will probably never meet Godmother Mary, but I love her because she was your constant, right? And is still. That's the one thing.
Can I tell you a story?
You can tell me whatever you want.
Actually, one of my favorite stories, and this is a bonus.
Okay.
It's funny, and the only reason I say that is because when you mentioned Mother Mary, when I became Catholic, had a very hands-on experience with Mary, I guess we'll say. But what I want to say the most is one of the most intense moments I had as a Roman Catholic was when the priest who loved me so much that, by the way, I have to do an entire series on Father Casey.
Okay.
Father Casey is one of the most important people to why I'm alive today. Mm-hmm. But the one thing I'll say is that I also developed his sense of humor.
Okay.
And when you mentioned Mother Mary, it's funny because it sounds really dark, but it was actually pretty helpful. Okay. Father John was watching me in an empty Catholic church bawl my eyes out while I was screaming when I didn't know anyone was listening. And then as I was crying, I wiped the tears from my eye and then wiped the tears on Jesus's feet. I can't think of anything to call them, but it's cool because they were feet.
Feet is good. We will go with feet.
John was like, I've never met anybody to do that. And I was like, yeah, but in 2 weeks, my opinion will change, so I wouldn't base much on it. But Father John was really wrecked by that because at that point, I was like, I need whoever is at the receiving end of what I'm doing to please hear me out. And Father John was like, you called out. Ta-da.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a weird... Oh, and I also realized that I was chatting while probably doing...
That's okay. I'm staying on the roller coaster with you, whether it's visual or anything else. You're good. Don't worry about it. Whatever you're comfortable.
Jade's not being a good lawyer.
What do you want? What do you want Jade to do legally here? Jade,
make sure that I don't get boomer face.
I didn't realize that was a legal concern, but okay.
It is whenever most of your generation boomer faces.
Okay. Well, you could do it the other way and just put the camera directly above you and just, do a drone shot or something. But
That would be cool if I didn't need cigarettes.
There you go. You need two hands for that. So
Jade,
okay.
going to rip on her, be like, this would have been better if you didn't boomer face me.
If Jade is focusing on the boomer face, I think we've missed the mark a little bit here. I don't think.
Hey, what the fuck does that mean?
I think you're the angle of everything you're talking about is more important than the camera angle. I'm good with that. So
Well,
okay, so all of this now brings us to because I do want to make sure that we also talk about your music, but I couldn't really figure out a good way to go forward and give that context, as I said, without talking about some of what you've been through.
You've actually made me more comfortable that I can say I think I'm making boomer face. So that tells me that.
Good. I'm glad you're honestly that's my whole thing with this show and just being a person in general is I want people to always feel and be safe and comfortable with me. So that means a lot to me.
They will.
I'm glad.
Do that with every fiber of my being.
Oh, well, thank you. That really does mean a lot to me.
I'm
okay.
Guarded except for certain people, and now I'm willing.
I can imagine. Yeah.
To cry on camera for you.
Oh,
happen. It will be healing.
Oh goodness.
Seriously.
No, I really that is important to me. So okay, so you are, still grappling with everything, obviously. So we're not going to wrap that up with a tidy little bow because there isn't one. But I think that.
I said, "Oh, I mean, we can give it a whirl."
Nah, no point. But so, I mean, your music. One of the things that and again, I came to listening to it closely, carefully, knowing a good bit about your history, not everything that we've discussed today, obviously, but the plot summary of it at least. And one of the things that I noticed was that on your earlier work, you had a lot more vocals. You have a lot of collaborators that you've worked with, right? You have, obviously, Saxicalis. I knew I was going to stumble over that one. And one of my favorite songs of yours, and again, there's a lot of them, guys. You need to go and sit and listen, and you're going to have a different part of Aaron depending on which song you're at, but 8-Bit Dreams is one of my favorite songs of yours. I love.
Oh my God, I have to clip this to send to Aaron.
Okay, other Aaron. Is that the Polaroid Tide? Is that Aaron?
He's a theology major.
Oh, okay.
With the same degree as me and a similar brain, and we've cracked up at this the whole time. Like when they're like, "We like 8-Bit Dreams. That guy's pretty rad." I'm like, "Yeah, he's religious, and I need him to back that part of me up." But no, he's literally a good dude, and I love him to the moon and back.
So is he the Polaroid Tide? Is that?
He is the Polaroid Tide.
Okay. I mean, beautiful voice. Really beautiful.
And also the one thing I want to say, if anybody ever wants to work with him otherwise, his bedside manner with what he did is amazing, and it was one of the most pleasant things I've ever dealt with. But I also need Noel to know that doesn't include him, because I've actually worked with him longer.
Right.
But Aaron, one of the best experiences I've had. We even had a knockdown drag out over the sweep in the song.
Okay.
But we figured it out.
That's how you know you're good with people. If you can fight with them and then come out the other side and you still love them. If you're too polite to fight, then you're probably not close to somebody. But I mean,
dude. That
you have a bunch of songs. And again, if I tried to go chronologically, there's just too much. But I mean, like, your stuff alone, 8-Bit Dreams, Betamax is another one. I love And I know you've said, and I don't know what the story is, but I think you said at some point on Facebook that you wanted to tell everybody why the fact that people like that song so much and it's doing so well was like kind of like what's the word I want? Like it was like a
I'm
justification.
glad you asked. It means that I know it would fucking do better than the asshole that criticized it.
Okay, thank you. So it was what's the word? Validation for you? That's the word I
Yeah.
wanted. So yeah,
It
okay.
was like,
So
it's not going to do well. And actually, I posted it like a year ago that it had a much more 90s approach to it.
okay,
The bass line wasn't supposed to be what it was.
okay.
And I did it. And I ended up being proven right. But also keep in mind that this goes back to our theme of spite. It goes back
You
to our
need to
theme.
make seriously. What I want you to do is have Jade draw you drinking from a can that says Spite on it instead of Sprite. That's what I want. You have to
Oh,
ask
she's
Jade.
listening.
Right.
She's
Jade,
listening.
we gotta make that happen, Jade. Seriously, like it just because it
Look,
fuels him,
yes.
you know. But I mean, one of the things I love, hello, beautiful. One of the things I love so much about that song is, and I don't know, you might get this because you talked about MTV. Do you know Howard Jones at all? Like
Yeah.
to get to know you well.
Yeah.
There's a Howard Jones vibe to that song that it's like a particular sound that I love so much. I love Howard Jones, and I remember listening to that one and going, okay, I got to hear why the fact that he's vindicated by, you know, it doing so well. So, okay. So somebody thought it would not, it was more
Turns
spite
out
than,
when
okay.
you- whatever.
Okay. So, I mean, just a couple other ones. I'm just going to kind of shoot them out and maybe you can tell me stories about them. Suspicion is another one that I really like. That's a very different vibe to me. It's almost more ethereal and but I also got like almost like a Stevie Nicks Edge of 17 kind of feel to it.
I was paranoid. That
Okay.
sound of a paranoid guy that just discovered pitch bend.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I don't know what to say. Like, hey, pitch bend.
Right. No, it doesn't have to be more than that. That's totally fine. So in talking about all these different songs, I wanted to get to playing one of them. And you chose Don't Leave, which is, you know, from this year. But did you want to talk about it a little bit before we play it for everybody, or you want to just let it speak for itself?
I mean, I feel like it would speak for itself, but I feel like one thing that I need to mention is I've always been really guarded with what I do. I take it seriously, and if anybody wants to come at me, I mean, cool, but I guard against that.
Mm-hmm.
But Jade was some random weird ass Tinder girl. I love you, random weird ass Tinder girl. But at the end of the day, I let her in to some of my biggest insecurities.
Mm-hmm.
I let her into my biggest insecurities. And the thing that I realized is, even lately, I said, Beeb, I feel like I'm having a heart attack. My panic attacks are so bad.
Mm.
And she never criticized me once, which is why I wanted to tell her. So I make all the wisecracks about her dealing with my weirdness. But I feel like there's a reason why I've let her in to this particular part of my world, like Beeb. And by the way, I call her Beeb, and Herschel too. He actually just cussed me out.
The cat.
And Herschel, fucking dickhead. I feed him. He owes me. but at the end of the day, it's like, these people are the people that will hold me at the end of the day. Like, Beeb, I'm struggling.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be around. Please help me.
Mm-hmm.
And she does.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I get pissed at her too, because she's like, my art's not good enough. I'm making fun of you for it. I'm making fun of you.
What's not good enough?
Her art.
Oh no.
And
No,
I'm like,
we know she's wrong about that. So
oh, I know she's absolutely 100% wrong by that.
But you can also relate to it though.
Because I have self-deprecating
Yeah.
problems.
Yeah.
But I also will call her out on it. I
Well,
guess.
you do it for each other because you love each other. I mean, that's what I'm hearing from you is
I'm trying to ask her if I actually love her.
Yes.
Do I? Okay, she admitted it, so we're good.
You've got that on camera now. But I mean, like that's the best feeling in the world, at least for me, to be 1,000% unfiltered, uncensored myself and to be loved for it. That's you can't feel safer in the world than when you have that. So this, I imagine, is where Don't Leave came from. Is this a song that you wrote for Jade, just kind of like have patience with me even though we know she does? Like is this sort of your fear of losing her talking, or is this
it really does boil down to that.
We're going to play Don't Leave by Electric Tardigrade. Here it comes. So I also wanted to get into your side project, because you and Saxicolis have a whole separate thing going called The Saddest Humans, and what you have, I think, 4 songs out for that so far.
Almost 5, but yeah.
Almost 5.
Well,
Okay.
he hears me being lazy, he'll yell at me.
Okay. So 4 officially, and then 1
I
is
give
in
it
the
a whirl.
works. Okay. We'll go. Yes, we give a lot of things a whirl around here. So I mean, what I was intrigued by in the description of The Saddest Humans is that you are putting out this genre that you're calling shred wave. And basically, from what I can gather, it's a lot of, synth, electronic, techno, same kind of experimental music that you do, but layered over that is a ton of just absolutely shredding guitar, like kind of 80s, hairband metal kind of guitar, like that really, anthem in the arena kind of, kind of, and it's a really cool combination. Like it, jeez, I'm gonna end up getting dizzy here. Yeah, but I mean, I really like that, because I mean, you have the last one I think that you put out, or at least the last one of the 4 that I listened to, is Frenetic Dance, and like for all the world, it sounds like an AC/DC song to me, but then it's got this techno beat. It's very dancey, and I just think that that's a really cool combination of, I don't even want to say genres, but just, sounds, and is that something that it's something you're kind of inventing, I gather, this shred wave?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And best parts is I fed the story of me and Saxicolis to Chat GPT.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, he is the reason why I'm doing any of this.
Okay.
But I was supposed to do funk bass, and he just sort of magicked his way into it otherwise. But it meant a lot to me at the time. And a lot of times he likes to bring up the fact that I somehow stumbled upon, and then people are like, why would you publish that? Because it sounds like he's being an asshole. Be like, no, he's not being an asshole. He's just as surprised as I am. And he's just trying to make peace with it. And I'm like, I got you, but probably not. But we'll work on it together.
So was the surprise the new genre that you were inventing? Is that the thing you were both kind of shocked by, or what was the surprise?
We knew the surprise for him was that people actually love what he's making.
Okay.
And I'm not kidding. Like, that's the surprise. He is shocked that people will take time out of their day to listen to what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, how the hell is that a problem? Like,
dude, I don't know what the problem. He's just surprised.
One fucking, sorry, I burped. One fucking, and I'm like, yeah, it was one fucking take. Like, we saw that.
Wow.
And he's all about it. And I'm like, dude, like, you let this be the hill that you die on. Like, you're amazing. And the people that listen to my bullshit know that this is your bullshit. Our bullshit matches up.
It does. It's matching bullshit luggage. Yeah. Okay.
But so, I'm also sorry.
You don't have anything to be sorry for. I wanted you as you are, and I got it. That's all I asked for. So, yeah. But okay. So just to, I'm not even going to try to sum up. What is that from The Princess Bride? Like, let me explain. No, there's too much. Let me sum up. Right. So you are a warrior, whether you feel like one or not, been through a ton of shit. You are putting it into your music. You're putting, yourself into the world every day, even though it's hard. You are making a ton of music. You are starting a new genre. You are transitioning from one type of experimental music in your solo stuff to another. You've got, when is the next song coming out, by the way, for Electric Tardigrade? Do you know what's following Joyride and when?
I'm trying to ask Jade because she's my
Mom,
lawyer.
when is it coming out, Mom?
We don't fucking know.
Okay.
What?
I'm asking you, when is the
She asks me. She's like, "Why can't you give me?"
Why don't you ask Herschel? Maybe Herschel knows.
Herschel,
that may be what he's been trying to say all this time, is plug the new single, meow.
Herschel doesn't fucking know anything. He doesn't.
So we don't know. And look, we're on the Electric Tardigrade train, and we don't have to know anything. We're just fucking. We're here, and we're along for the ride. And we'll get it when it comes out.
But I need you to know this from a legal standpoint.
Okay.
There is nothing that I've said that is off limits.
Okay.
I absolutely mean it. I've probably said some things that are sad. I've probably said some things that are rough. But at the end of the day, my whole goal with all of this has been, hey, I made these wisecracks about X, Y, and Z, but are you okay? And I'm going to try not to cry because that's my biggest thing.
Mm-hmm.
If there's one dude that's I'm struggling and I need somebody, I don't want to ever come across as I'm a mess up,
Mm-hmm.
I want that person to be we got this guy.
Well, and you're still here.
That guy.
That's it.
Want that guy for that guy.
That's right. That's right. No, I think that has come across really clearly. And I think, no, I mean, look, full disclosure, this is the weirdest fucking interview I've ever done, but I'm totally here for
it. Nice try thinking I'm going to be mad about that.
I didn't think you would. I actually kind of felt like it would make you proud. I kind of thought maybe that was a small side quest you had set for yourself. But no, I actually love that, because my whole thing is I'll listen to all the music, I'll do research, I'll ask questions, but I want the person as they are. I want to get real. I want to get genuine. I want people to be honest. And again, as I said, most of all, I want people to feel comfortable and safe. And you have shared that you are there for people who are struggling, and especially guys who are struggling, who feel like they can't talk about it or there's nobody for them to go to. Even if this interview accomplished nothing else, which I think it has, because I think your music, and we should make sure we point it out. Yeah, your music is really fucking good. And I mean that from the beginning of what I've heard all the way to the current stuff. I mean, the Saddest Human side project with Sexicolous. I can't get that word out. Sexicolous. It's good. And people don't even need to know all of this to appreciate your music. And they don't need to know all of this to appreciate Jade's art. And again, let's plug Procyon Art too. Okay, listen, it feels bizarre to end the show as I usually do, but I for the sake of consistency and really honestly, I just want to see what the fuck you're going to say and answer this. There is a segment at the end of every show that we do called In the Vox Seat.
Oh God.
And it is 5 questions. These are, I'm going to tell you right now, a hell of a lot easier than literally everything else we've talked about. So
I'm sorry.
You're okay. No. No. This is great. This is you. This is real. That's what I wanted. You have nothing to apologize for, so shut up. Okay.
I will never shut up. And
no, you shouldn't. Just out of spite, you won't shut up now because I told you to. But okay. So the first question is, and I don't know where we're going to go with this, because I am certain that this numerical limit is just not going to hold for you at all. If you had to sum up your music, Lord help us, in 5 words or less, what the fuck would you say? And I'm going to count. Actually, Jade, maybe you can help me count.
Jesus, that you thought this was good.
Maybe I should ask Jade. Jade, could you sum up his music in 5 words? Oh my God,
even better.
Yeah, let's do that. I have a feeling Jade might get even remotely closer to the number.
You have brought something that has to happen. Jade, come here. Please, ask her.
Okay, Jade.
How she feels, please.
I'm begging you.
Anything she says, take.
Okay.
I
Sum up his music. Here we go. Jade, are you with me?
experimental, heartfelt.
Don't fucking give it a
Retro.
break. Give it a break. Let it be
Let
done.
her talk. Experimental, heartfelt.
But I have to make fun of her so she
retro,
keeps it fair.
Like, I think everything he makes builds a world. I'm sorry that I couldn't do it either.
No, okay. Experimental, heartfelt builds a world. I'll take that. I can distill it into 5. I'm going to do that myself. We got anywhere near it. It was under 1,000 words, and I'm grateful to both of you for that. So there we go.
And
okay.
Her for every second.
What,
but I love Lisa.
What is your favorite thing, Aaron, about being a musician?
Boner jams.
What does that mean?
Oh, that tells me
is that a 40-year-old virgin reference?
It is absolutely a 40-year-old virgin.
I'm right there with you. Okay.
Boner jams. 4.5.
No, it was like Boner Jams 2000 or something, I think.
Thank you.
Okay.
Is
the least favorite thing about being a musician the flaccid jams then? What's going to be the answer to that one?
You know that's the case. She's probably like, why did I decide to date this fucking weirdo?
It's never boring, right, Jade? Never, ever, ever boring.
Also, please don't edit this.
Okay. I will not. We'll
show Jade being embarrassed by me.
She's hiding off camera right now, so she's letting off little embarrassment rays, then that's okay. But okay,
but
so
just
you
know that I've like interacted with you enough that I'm like, nah, I can get away with being a fucking weirdo. So you're welcome. You're welcome.
I feel honored. I'm gonna go with that as my first impulse.
Feel honored, but you do you.
Okay. Okay. So least favorite thing, we'll go with flaccid jams. I don't even know anymore. Okay. If you had to pick one album, again, this is a exercise in futility, but if you had to pick one album to listen to for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Mbop.
Okay, we're gonna go with just Hanson on the Desert Island.
Mbop. No, it's Hanson. You're just gonna be like, oh, Hanson is the best. Oh, you're laughing. You think I'm
actually? They have a song called "Penny and Me" that I really love. So they did have a second song that I know, and I liked it. So Hanson, we'll go with Hanson.
You ruined it because I'm like, if I have to get into why Hanson nailed it, I'm screwed. Mm-hmm. And you're absolutely correct. Hanson nailed it. And even the fact that they both, or all three, know that. It's like, okay, you guys are monsters and amazing at what you do. Now I have to be serious, and fuck you for making me serious.
You're welcome.
yeah, but it's just like Hanson is amazing, and I'd be like, hello, Hanson band.
Well, actually, if you listen to the lyrics for Mbop, they're a hell of a lot deeper than people realize.
Yeah, that's the main brother.
Taylor.
Yeah. You can diss it however you want, but the dude got it.
Oh, yeah. And you can't get harmonies like that when you don't have it within a family. There's something about that timbre that they all share that's just really beautiful. So there you go, guys. Fucking Hanson. Okay.
Yeah, but congratulations.
Aaron, we're in the home stretch here, Aaron. This is the last question, okay?
Oh, Jesus, fuck. Anyway.
Your toilet paper roll. Does the toilet paper go over the top, or do you pull it out from under the bottom, and why? You don't even put it on the roll, do you?
No, I haven't. Dude, that's basically probably closer to your answer. But what I would say is, like, whichever makes my butthole less comfortable. Wherever you land in that argument, like, oh, Aaron's butthole less comfortable? Then your answer is, oh, he doesn't like it. And then be like, oh, is Aaron's butthole more comfortable from this interaction? And the answer is, then he needs his butthole represented
differently.
Sorry, but I also need you to know one thing, and I mean this with every fiber of my being.
Okay.
I know that I'm being funny,
Mhm.
and I know that people are going to hear me and be like, oh, this dude's messed up. And, like, I know that. I fucking know that. I fucking know it harder than everything.
Mhm.
But one thing that I promise, and please, at least with everything that I've said,
Mhm.
help me with this. I don't give a fuck that I'm messed up, because at the end of the day, I want an interview of a person who's like, I can't survive. Will you please help me?
Mhm. Mhm.
That's the person that I want entering my phase.
Mhm.
And I'm sorry, I know that's dark and blah, 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 blah. But that's the person I need in my life.
No, don't apologize for dark. That's half of life at least, right? So you guys, thank you for being yourselves, for spending time with me. And I will say I wish you the best. And I know that could sound hollow, but I really do. And at the very least, I hope Herschel stops being a dick, at least somewhat, for the rest of the evening so that you can have that going for you. Okay. Aaron, Jade, Herschel, thank you again for talking with me. And guys, thank you for watching Vox and Guest, and we'll see you next time. Bye.